Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Ascension Diaries YouTube channel. How are you doing? I have been doing pretty well today. It is August 21st at 6:24 p.m. Mountain Time, and my name is Alexis. I have one tarot card for us to go over today, but the big stuff that's going to be in the show today is some really wacky, intense readings we're getting on quite a few graphs. So we've got geomagnetic disturbances that's caused by solar wind, and we have some serious earthquake activity that just happened a couple hours ago, and Schumann Resonance activity. So I've got a plethora of things that are coming in on all of the scientific aspects of the show. I have a great card that we've been getting, we've gotten this card a few times, and it's a welcome sight. It's kind of funny because I feel like a lot of us are like, oh man, I should be working harder and all this, but the card that I'm getting for all of us for today, which would make a lot of sense due to all of the shifts and things going on, is to rest. We have the Four of Air. So it says time to take rest, time to take a vacation, make time before making a decision, allow time, allow meditation, allow finding your silent space. If your mind is going on and on and on about it and there's a constant conversation, chances are you're going to make an ill-informed decision. And I'm coming from, a place of humility. I do the same thing, but literally, if you find that your mind is talking about it too much and you can't shut up in your brain about a decision, it's time to shut up. And by shutting up, the mind is such a simple creature in a lot of ways, and we forget because we've used it so much. This whole society, the whole way we've grown up and been raised is to train mind, and there is so much more to us and our abilities than we even know. We haven't trained any of our senses, and we've just really tuned in our chemical computer up here. So how do you turn off your mind? Again, a lot of you know this, but if you need help, this is what I do. I sit outside in the grass and I need to have a word. I need to have a sound or something that I can constantly come back to. Your mind is going to run off. Your mind is going to go off because that's what we've been allowing it to do, and that's what we've been trained to do. And we think perhaps you're going along a good line of thinking, but really, if you haven't asked a question and your mind is going off in any direction, it's not a good idea. And so have a word, sit out in nature without the distractions. You're going to have to do some breathing. I play with my sound bowl for a little while because it helps me to get sort of peaceful. And it's not easy. It's not going to happen like that. Nothing really happens like that. So yes, sit, do something, a sound meditation, whatever you need to, listen to some music, something to sort of get your mind to shut up and just focus on a sound. And so the sound can be an om, like I'll say om over and over. I'll breathe an om on the way out. I'll even press my whole face into the ground. I do this often, and just to sort of help shut it out and release all of the energy that's happening around your brain and ground it into the ground, because I'm telling you, there is some serious disturbance going on, and I've been feeling it coming, and I just want to be here to help the best I can with you guys if you don't know already. But definitely is the card for today is to rest, meditate, chill. There's things happening and on the way, and I want to show you what those things are from my scientific ability and perspective. So let's move into some fun science. I have this really cool graphic I want to show you about the heliospheric current that is projected by the sun. So this is a model of the solar system. Obviously the solar system is spiraling in a direction. This isn't just sitting here in space not doing anything. It's also all shooting off through space as well. But the sun gives off through its rotation and through its huge projector of energy. It's a huge energy ball. So it's going to give off this wave. And so while it spins, it sprays off this whole loop of energy and magnetic disturbance and things like that. And so I really like this image. It's not entirely like fully accurate. It could be made better, but I thought it was a really good visual to sort of get you into that headspace. And we're going to be looking at now what this has been doing. Okay, so this image right here has been updating on the minute. I cannot stop this page from loading itself, but throughout the day, earlier today, I'd say about 2 hours ago. So around like, this was happening around noon. So I was checking in around noon and 1, it's currently 6:30, where there was a lot of these lines that were coming around. You see these black lines, except they were red and they were overlapping, and it was quite intense. We were receiving quite a bit of energy that was folding behind the planet like so. And so that's intense. It's showing you how much we're being bombarded by as we're all flying through space. So it could be from the sun, but it also could be through what we're flying through in space. So interestingly enough, there is a mass that is forming sort of in the background of these lines, and it seems like there is some sort of reverberation coming from the folding, but this is weird behavior. I don't know what that is, to be honest with you. Some people are I've been looking at videos that people are trying to say that there's other planetary bodies that are coming around, that there is other suns, there's a whole bunch of other stuff in space, and I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that there's stuff in space that they aren't telling us about. You don't need to convince me of that. And I am willing and able to look into more research about these sort of things, make a case. I'll see your research. That's all I have to say. I will definitely look into it. But see, it loads over and over. So this is weird, obviously. And really big thank you today on the Facebook page for my beautiful friend, who I will remain unnamed, who sent me this site and helped me get this so I can add this to the show, showing you that the sun is just spraying us with some awesomeness. And yeah, there's quite a bit of disturbance going on, but it was a lot more a few hours ago. We seem to be getting into the calm of it with this graph, but I will show you. Let's show you really quick. I'm going to show you what the heart math wants to show you, which is basically a whole lot of nothing. I'm not really impressed. This is the most this is what I have for you. Each of the graphs from the 20th, this isn't even accurate to the day. It's not updating yesterday. Still nothing too exciting to report in the energies to match, with the solar wind and things like that. Doesn't seem like the Schumann resonance, according to the heart math, was doing anything too crazy, which you can see again here. Though the solar wind here you can see was jumping, and that the global consciousness project sort of thing that they're tracking over the last few days, especially over the 16th and 17th, was getting out of range to some craziness, which we were feeling and seeing. So let's look at what the Russians want to show us. And basically there was a blast that occurred today, last night, right before midnight. I'm sorry, that's not true. I keep messing that up. My apologies. This is more around like 10 in the morning. And I was like, I saw it this morning. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm so sorry. Around 9, 10 in the morning, we had a blast of a 38. And you can see here that it was quite a sharp one. So it didn't go all the way up, and it didn't give us that much information on the other chart, which I will show you, the one with the colors. But weirdly enough, there is activity happening right now. It's 6:33. That is showing up significantly on the other chart and not as much here. You can see that it hasn't risen too far, but it must be climbing or something's going on. But there is Schumann resonance activity that's rolling in now. So we did all that solar wind, and now we're getting some Schumann resonance activity. So it's almost like there's a connection between those two things, but the way vibration works and the grandness of the planet and how it's reverberating in the ionosphere is still very interesting to me. But we're still watching, things are happening. We're trying to understand the behavior of this, because I've tried to do the research, and to be honest with you, it's really not that, I'm not able to access research that's that cohesive. And so I'm doing my own. So let's look. We have, this is the blast I was talking about that hit us this morning at around, 10 in the morning. And this is the information that we're getting right now. So there is Schumann resonance activity going on for sure. And let's look into what the sun is up to, because again, there is still wacky stuff going on. The whole planet's going weird. All the things I'm watching, there's weird stuff going on today. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see. I feel great, honestly, as myself, my health, how I'm feeling, how I'm doing. Today has been a very decent day. I hope it carries on into tomorrow, because I have 3 really big things that are going on tomorrow. I have a session. I'm going to be filming a podcast with someone for our channel, and I'm going to be on the Peace Dealers channel on the live stream, where he's going to talk to me about myself and this program and all of you, basically, and we'll see what we actually talk about. But I've never done anything like that before, and he's got quite the audience, so I'm not intimidated, but I definitely want to make sure I get a good night's sleep, I feed myself, and I'm meditated, and I'm trying to keep my vital energy up so I can deliver, my authentic vibration to these people, and bridge those gaps, help bring the community together, our community, his community, whoever else ends up watching it, whatever connections I end up making. I just want to make the most of it, I'm really gracious, and I'm really happy to be able to get to do this more and more with other people's channels and content. So, am I feeling good today? Yes. Should I be feeling good tomorrow? Really hope so. I know also that source and my life and how things have been lined up, my higher self, I have a lot of faith in my higher self, because it always seems like the timing of everything works out pretty good. And so if I'm allowed to book all those things tomorrow, most likely that's going to be okay, unless it's just this grand test to be like, Alexis, your self-care is number 1. Remember that. I'd be like, I know. So we're all going to find out. I think it's going to be fine. I'm not too worried. So we have, and so as long as everybody's good and the sun is good and everybody's doing happy, we got the coronal holes are dying down completely. They've totally cooled off. We have all that solar wind that's come in and showing up in weird ways. So we had a blast. It got up to about 700 kilometers per second. Usually it's 400. So that's about a jump of 300 kilometers over average, which is pretty crazy, and haven't been seeing that very often. And it's showing up. But I want to show you this. Again, weird information going on here. This graph usually is pretty calm, pretty chill. Something very intense happened to the geomagnetics. Again, that first graph I showed you where the lines are going around the planet, I was watching it today, and it was wild. And unfortunately, the thing updates itself instead of me reloading the page, so I couldn't keep it for you, which kind of sucks. And I'm going to see if I can do anything about that, but this obviously is another show that something very intense happened. This could also be an error, but I checked 2 different locations, and there's something was going on. Our magnetic field got something happening. This sort of thing, this is one I don't usually talk about, but it's actually updated itself from the 8th month, August, all the way from the 20th to predicting until the 30th, I think. This is our lovely little planet, this yellow dot. You can see that there is decently big pulses that are going to be flying across our planet over the next few days. And it's not like we've been seeing that already. We, with these little pulses, are predicted to come off the sun. We've got stuff coming at around on the 23rd, 24th, the 28th, and it's just coming. It just keeps coming. We're in a constant space where we're moving through these big energetic shifts. And so the x-rays were crazy. They had some very strange behavior. This graph just totally shut off when that solar wind was sort of coming in. The geomagnetics again showed a pulse, but this doesn't look like it should be this. I feel like it should be higher. I feel like it should be more disturbed. So anyways, the planet is doing a great job at, what it does and allowing all of this information to pour over her and past her and smoothly sail through these influxes of energy that are coming towards us. The electron flux has, and I didn't mention yesterday, but it was in the radiation storm range, which is this dotted line right here, and it was popping over the dotted line over the last 2 days. So we have been getting an increased amount of radiation also here, and at this current moment it's doing that. So it's happening. Things are happening. Energy is definitely hitting us right now. Things are going on. And so weirdly, when the energy wasn't really doing that, and the solar wind comes in first, and now all this other stuff is happening as sort of a reverberation, pardon me. And that's my theory anyways. And I can show you here this last electron graph. It was projecting that this was going to shoot all like way up here, and as I was mentioning, it came back down. So things are okay. Things are evening out already, I'm noticing. So it's all good. Not to worry. I know you're not worried, but just to be safe, I want to mention that both of those graphs show that the solar what's coming off of the sun is not as significant as it has been over the past few days. So this is not going to continue getting more intense. Things like this, that was a nice little peak, and now we're coming back down into, you know, a little bit normal behavior for, you know, the next foreseeable hours. It's really hard to just be like, yeah, it's going to be fine for a few days. It might be. Still lots of stuff could happen and develop, but I think it should be okay. The lightning has been nothing but normal. I've been seeing this behavior since I've been watching the graph. Basically, there's a lot less activity in Europe, but nothing too crazy to report. The United States just gets a lot of lightning. It's weird. It's almost as if there is very intense, well, I mean, this is an American site, so that's probably why, because all the information is, you know, sourced from the US. But this is weird. So we had huge earthquakes happen just a few hours ago in Venezuela. There were 3 of them in a row, I think. Yep. In different locations of Venezuela. One was in I can't read that. Okay. Anyways, one was in one location, and then the following 2 were in the same location, still in the same country. The first one was 123.2 kilometers deep in the earth, which is deep. I don't see them go that deep. I've been watching this again for a couple months now, and I've not seen that before. And it was a 7.3. So it's a very deep earthquake caused by all this compression and stuff on our planet has caused this deep rumbling that was followed by even more earthquakes. And then there was 2 7.0s in the same location that were almost as deep. They were about 80 kilometers, 87 kilometers deep. So these are really interesting things that I'm noticing with the planet. These following earthquakes that were in, see, I get too ahead of myself. If you zoom out or anything, it notices. Okay, and then the other ones I was noticing were in, I actually don't know where this is, Lakatoro, Vanuatu. Apologies if I totally said that wrong. I haven't been there. I don't know anyone from there. Never read about it in a book or seen it on TV. So that's basically my level of education, the best I can do. But there is interesting that those were fairly large, and they were not deep. They were maybe 10. They were pretty deep, but like a normal level of deep, like 10, 13 kilometers below the surface. We have right surface level earthquakes happening, which a depth of 0, and right on the surface of a 3.5, little smaller shakes, but still we got some big activity going on the planet all over. It seems like there's big shakes going on. We have And that's what I'm here to report on, these Venezuelan earthquakes. For some reason, it's just like really pulling my attention. So that's going in the diary, you guys. So let's look at the global consciousness over the last 24 hours. Everything's been doing pretty good, honestly. Things have been staying in the green-yellow range, which again, you know, is pretty good for the amount of activity that's going on. I'm surprised. So maybe it hasn't hit us yet. It's hitting the atmosphere, the ionosphere, and then it's going to be hitting us, but it's also hitting, you know, the planet, and it's shaking. So it's kind of funny how we just kind of wander around aimlessly while all this crazy, awesome cosmic stuff is happening too, and energetic stuff is happening to the planet. It's such an incredible system, honestly. So global consciousness has been good, and the astrology isn't going to be doing anything too significant until until Virgo season starts, which is happening pretty soon. And that's going to be a fun time. We have Virgo season, I'm pretty sure is next, unless I'm crazy, but I think it's next. And that is all I have to report on today that I'm aware of. I watched a few videos, looked at a few things, but I think that's going to be it. I have openings coming next week for tarot readings and bookings. If you're interested, please let me know. You can email me. You can visit my website, alexisbuck.com, to book. Contact me on Facebook. That's where I am the most, to be honest with you. And that's where we can have a lot of quick, easy conversation, and I can give you all the links and everything you need so we can set it up. But yeah, that's going to be everything from me. I would love to hear how all of you have been and have been feeling today. I hope you liked the podcast that I uploaded with Alexander. It is now up. I'm going to be uploading another podcast that I did tomorrow. So if you guys are at work and listening to the podcast, I got another one for you with my friend Eric Martin for his company and his knowledge about CBD and the cannabis industry in general, and how that's all moving forward with incredible pace and speed, and how it's going to be changing the world, our world, multidimensionally. Everything is going to be moving multidimensionally, and he gets into it a bit. It's going to be fun. So I'm excited to share that with you. And that's going to be it for me. Please like the video if you liked it. Please share it with your friends if you think they want to hear about this crazy activity. And that's going to be all from me. I love you very, 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 very much. And I'll be seeing you very soon. Goodbye, angels.